Greetings, respected Bante. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Awakening Friends gathering. Let's begin by settling into stillness. It's a beautiful opportunity for us to quiet our minds and set the intention for the upcoming discussion. We are very grateful to have our teacher here today as well. So now that, may we invite Bante to guide us in a short sitting session.
Good evening, everyone. Let's join for a mindful sitting session. Feel free to turn on video and join more actively. Now, what are we going to do? Let's sit in a comfortable manner. Make sure that your body is balanced. You can keep your back straight. And once you are comfortable in your posture, you can gently close your eyes. For a moment, simply notice that you are seated comfortably. If there is any tension, tightness, you can simply release it. We are not going to do much, instead simply be. Notice the things that comes to your field of awareness. You may notice the surrounding sounds, nature sounds, your family members working, talking. A variety of sounds come and go. Then lot of bodily sensations are also there. Maybe the pressure on your back, breathing, sometimes pain, irritations in your body. And time to time, various thoughts, memories. The things you have done today, these things come to your mind. And it's quite natural that you might feel sleepy as well. You are simply witnessing this flow of things. It's like an ever-changing flux of things. Let's continue this observation for a few more minutes.
Thank you, Bhante, for guiding us through that beautiful silence. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. With that practice, we are moving on to our discussion. For that, I would like to invite our respected Bhante again to guide us through with the discussion, and also I'm going to invite Chaturu to be our reader today as well. Today we will be continue reading from the Numerical Discourses of the Buddha, translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. We are referring to the second title, Abandoning the Hindrances, and we are on the 18th paragraph today, which is on page 92. Chatru, you may begin after I share my screen.
Thank you, Kalpani. Homage to the Blessed One, the Arhat, the perfectly enlightened one. Bhikkhus, I do not see even one other thing on account of which unarisen dullness and drowsiness do not arise, and arisen dullness and drowsiness are abandoned, so much as the element of instigation, the element of persistence, the element of exertion. For one who has aroused energy, unarisen dullness and drowsiness do not arise, and arisen dullness and drowsiness are abandoned.
Okay, everyone. So we are continuing our selected chapter, which is Abandoning the Hindrances, the second chapter, and we are on the 18th discourse. So here Buddha talks about the dullness and drowsiness and how to counter it, how to continue this practice of developing your mind while abandoning the hindrance, dullness and drowsiness. And for a one with aroused energy, the dullness and drowsiness do not arise. Arise and dullness and drowsiness will be abandoned. That's the idea. So let's think about usual worldly matters, even in your work, in your education. If you don't have an aroused mind, then what happens is that you may be there 8 to 5, spending so many hours, but still you do not get many things done. That happens. Some people, they go to work 8 to 5, spend so many hours at their desk, but at the end of the day, if they have to list out what they have done, then they can't really figure it out. They have spent so much time, but still not making any progress, right? So those things are there even in our worldly things. When it comes to work, when it comes to education, we can feel these things. So you have to have an aroused mind. These qualities, element of instigation, element of persistence, element of exertion. These type of qualities should be there. Now, even if you listen to this modern age motivational things, most of them are correct. But still, if you listen to them, then they will talk about qualities like persistence. One of the good ones, I think his name is Brian Tracy. He talks a lot about persistence. And he says that this is the quality that will win the world. Not the genius, not the strength, your bodily strength, not the smartest one, but the one with the persistence. So you can see when in the outside world, if you want to win that world, if you want to do good at your work, if you want to do good at your education, you have to have these qualities. The problem is that can we develop these qualities or are we born with them? That's the important question. Maybe each and every one of us, we will have to answer this question on our own. Are we able to develop these qualities? Or are we born with them? Right? And that's a question. We will keep it open and see whether each of us can figure it out. Right? So anyway, when it comes to the path, developing your practice, these qualities come into play. Aroused energy is important towards the path, towards the practice. Usually the beginners, most of them, they have aroused energy when they come in. They say, I want to do this. I want to learn meditation. I want to develop my practice. They come with a lot of energy. So that's good, right? The beginners. I know this monk who is a visiting monk here. He comes during the weekends. He's a busy person. He works, I think, as a director in the educational department. During the weekdays, he's really busy, full of work. And during the weekends, he's coming here to learn meditation, develop his practice. When I say learning, that's probably not the correct word. You can learn about mindfulness through books, through lectures, but real practice is different. Developing your practice is different. So much learning sometimes become an obstacle. I remember one of the programs that was done here, a crowd, probably like 60, 80 people, they were doing a diploma in mindfulness. And for a factory visit, they visited Nissarana, right? Factory visit. So they came with a lot of energy. They have a lot of information, knowledge about mindfulness. So they wanted to go and see what the factory is like, right? So when they entered the building, the manager told them, you can't wear slippers or shoes inside, right? So at the door, they had to leave them. Then when they came into the hall, the seating arrangement was on the floor. Only a mat is given, right? So they can't sit there. They're used to sit in comfortable chairs, right? So that was the beginning of the program. So initially they came with a lot of energy, smiles on their faces, but gradually, within like 1 hour, 1.5 hours, the smile faded away, right? Because the seating arrangement is not comfortable and you can't wear barefoot on the sandy floors. They are not used to it. So you can see a lot of struggle. The smile fades away. And if a leech bites in the process, then everything is gone. right? So you can see the learning, the book knowledge is different and the practice is different, right? So we encourage people to have little book knowledge. Come as a beginner, come as a newbie, right? And we'll give you some guidance. You start your practice. So it is more about experiencing practicing. That's the important part. So this particular monk, he he wanted to develop his practice, develop his meditation. So he came here during the weekends, uh, away from his work and trying to meditate. So I think I was advising him, and he continued for like few weeks. And one time he came and said, Bante, I feel like this is too much work. This meditation is too much work. I am busy during the weekdays and even during the weekends. Now I have to work. That type of a feeling a beginner might get. In a way, it's true because you have to have this aroused energy. You have to prioritize a bodily sensation. It's an hell of a struggle. When you try to prioritize a bodily sensation over the other things, it becomes really difficult. It becomes a whole new struggle because the mind is the one that we have encouraged. The thought processes, memories, future planning, those things we have encouraged. During the weekdays, while doing his work, he's encouraging those parts. And coming here, trying to prioritize the bodily sensation over the mind, it's not easy. It becomes a whole new struggle. Everything irritates them. The weather irritates them. The surrounding people irritates them. Then what else? The insects, they irritate them. So you can see a whole new struggle because now they are trying to prioritize a bodily sensation over the other things. So that struggle, beginner has to go through. That is true. But gradually, they have to figure out the proper balance. Gradually, they can do it. If they get proper advice, then you have to tell them it's okay that the thoughts come. It's okay that these memories, things, and other things occupy your field of awareness. But among them, can you simply notice the breathing or the steps every now and then? That type of advice is important. Otherwise, they will go into a whole new struggle with meditation. Now, there's this Japanese concept. They call it shikantaza. I hope that's the proper pronunciation. Shikantaza. And they say just being. And they say you can't get it wrong. Because if you ask them to prioritize a certain object, then you can get it wrong. But just being, no priority, they say you can't get it wrong. Right? So that type of idea is also there. But in our practice, we encourage them to be with the bodily sensation. We encourage them to prioritize that, but they have to approach it wisely. That's the whole idea. If they go into a whole new struggle with the mind, then it's not good. Some people they struggle with their breathing in meditation because of this struggle. They sometimes feel that chest is tightening because of this struggle. So you have to approach it wisely. You have to put effort wisely, right? So that is one side of it. And when you do it little by little, Among the thoughts, among all other distractions, you can catch your breath. You can notice your breath. Among all these things, even while the eyes are open, you can notice your steps. That type of approach is important, and it takes some time, but that quality you can gradually develop. Right? So the beginners, they have an aroused mind, and it is important. Initially, they need a lot of energy to pass through the initial phase. So that's good. But gradually, when they mature in their meditation, the effort, it changes. Now you have to put more like wise effort, not blind effort. That type of a change will come. So that's why these qualities are important. Element of instigation, element of persistence, element of exertion. These qualities are important when you want to continue meditation long term. That initial phase, most of the people, they somehow start and get through it, but different stages needs different effort. Right? We see many people starting their practice. They continue for few weeks, few months, then they give up. So they don't have that quality of persistence. They don't have the quality to continue something in long term. That quality is lacking in many people. Even in worldly things, sometimes you might notice these character traits. They start things, they continue for few weeks, few months, then they give up. Then they start a whole new project. Again, continue for some time, then they give up. Start a whole new project, right? So if they do that way, I don't think they can get anywhere. That's not how the world works. Instead, you get friction, you get troubles, you find obstacles, but among all these things, you have to somehow continue your practice. Probably not with the same energy, but somehow you continue. You don't give up, right? So those type of qualities will really check you in the practice. Even in the teachings, you can say 3 stages of effort is given. The initial stage, Arambha dhatu, then more like sustained effort, Nikkama dhatu, then the final one would be Parakkama, probably like persistent effort, right? So these 3 types of effort you can see. Let me give you an experiment to figure out these 3 types of effort. Go make your mind to do 1 hour walking meditation, right? And you go and start, you set a timer. Okay, I'll do 1 hour. You go and start. Initially, you can continue. Initially, you have a lot of effort, right? So that initial effort is there. But when you go into maybe 20 minutes of walking, then you feel like now it's enough. You feel like going and doing something else, right? So that's the phase where initial effort will turn into sustained effort. So many people give up at that level. 20 minutes, they are done. Then if they can overcome that obstacle, then when they continue for 40 or so minutes, then again another milestone appears. where now it's not more like a struggle, but it's like simply you're walking without much effort, and you have to continue that, right? You don't have much energy. You feel bored. That boredom will try to end the session around, let's say, 40 minutes or so, right? So that part you can see it's more like now the persisted the effort is needed, right? So even within 1 hour of walking, you can really see these 3 stages. In your path, these 3 stages will come into play, right? So I remember one time I went to Colombo for a retreat, and there were like 100 plus people. I told them, let's go and walk for 1 hour. Encouraged them to do it, gave some instructions, and all of us, we went outside to do walking. And many people came around, most of the people came. But you can see within like 20 or so minutes, they wash their feet and they go inside. Sometimes few raindrops appear, they give up. Then probably like 30, 40 people, they continue more than 30 or so minutes. During the 40-minute milestone, some people, they feel like enough. They get bored. And the sun appears, people who are concerned about their skin color, they disappear, right? So that way, towards the end of the session, only like 15 people were remaining. The rain and the sun laughing in the background because these people are trying to achieve Nibbana, but still they can't withstand this, right? So that type of effort is needed, and gradually you have to understand the effort changes. This persistence, that's the quality. That quality. If you somehow continue, if you somehow participate in the discussions, if you somehow share your experience, if you somehow they do your daily meditation, the practice will develop. You don't have to think about it too much. You don't have to know where you are going, but you participate in the discussion. You share your experience and get proper advice, and you do your daily meditation. If you continue like that, whether you like it or not, the practice will work. The quality of persistence. That's the real quality here. That's the real check here. Right? So many people they start but they can't continue because at a certain point the path or the practice will evolve. The meditation will evolve into a certain level, and that level most people can't bear it. Now, initially you prioritize your breath. That's how you start, right? But when you continue your meditation, that very priority will disappear. Whether you like it or not, it will disappear. The nature's teaching, right? So when that priority disappears, many people can't bear it. They say, now my meditation doesn't work. Now I can't keep my attention with the breath. Now the breath is no longer there. Those type of complaints come, right? So that phase, it's a real check, and it needs proper advice, and you are tested time after time. Because imagine as long as we prioritize our breathing, we have a home. Our attention, it has a home, right? But when the practice evolves, into a level of no priority, what happens? All the suppressed things, they are coming to the surface. All the defilements, they are coming to the surface. So this person, he came into the practice saying that I want to get rid of defilements. By attaching my attention to the breath, I am getting rid of defilements. That's how they started. But now they come to a stage where they feel a whole lot of defilements in their minds because there no priorities there. You can't keep your attention with the breath. The breath has disappeared. Right? So whole lot of defilements come. So this person starting the practice with the idea of getting rid of defilements doesn't agree with this change. They say, I came to get rid of defilements. Now I can see more and more defilements in my mind. This I can't bear. Right? Because they want to get rid of defilements. But Buddha says, only by knowing and seeing, you can get rid of defilements. Not by not knowing or not seeing. Janato passato aswanam kayang vadami. No ajanato, no apassato. So only by knowing and seeing, you can get rid of defilements. But knowing and seeing comes, you don't like it. Right? Achancha says this in a different way. He says, let the defilements be. They too need to have a roof over their heads. You have been with those defilements for eons. Now, why are you trying to get rid of them so quickly? Let them be, let them appear. Simply be mindful, right? So that type of practice is important. And even today's guidance during the sitting practice, we didn't prioritize anything. That was my intention, telling you to go with the flow. Ever-changing flux of things are there. The sounds are there, then the bodily sensations are there, thought processes, memories, future planning, they come. Then sometimes sleepiness, pain. It's a ever-changing flux of things, right? That type of a flux is at work. We can even say flow state. If you simply witness it, that would be your practice. Now you have no priority. But many people, they struggle when they have no priority. They say that I get these past memories which are dark. I get a lot of anger in me, right? So that way, various complaints come, but you have to understand the practice evolves. If you want to progress, you have to accept that change. If you don't accept it, then it's not gonna get too far. Now, there's this Japanese concept of wu-wei. Some people, they translate it as non-doing. But probably that translation is not so accurate. Instead, we can say effortless action. Effortless action would be a proper translation for the word wu-wei. So it's like, you do something, but you do it effortlessly. You are still meditating. You haven't given up, but it's more like effortless. Right? So you are simply witnessing what is happening. These things come and go, thoughts come and go. Can you simply witness? That's the ability that you are trying to develop. So you can see you start with prioritizing a certain object, but gradually when you move into the practice, when the practice matures, you have to understand there's a certain level where you simply be. It might take many months, many years for these thoughts or the memories to settle down. But you have to go through that very struggle. It's like, completing an incompleted filing system. In our mind, when something happens, the mind is processing that. But if that memory is bad, if that memory is dark, we are not allowing it to process. We suppress those things. We don't like those memories. We don't like those mental images. So we somehow suppress them. And that suppression won't work because in meditation, you can see as maybe like psychological wounds, you can see this past trauma appears, past incidents appears, right? So that way, when they come, it's more like exposure therapy in psychology. Something bad happens and you have to somehow allow it to process. So same goes for meditation. In meditation, you can see exposure therapy. In today's sitting, some past incident, maybe like decades old, comes into your mind. It's really irritating. It's dark. It lasts for a while and disappears. Then again, next day in meditation, the same process happens. Thereafter, that might not be there. A week, you get a quiet mind. Then again, the same memories appear. So that way, little by little, you are exposed to this very incident. And that, although that is difficult, that's a healing process that's happening. So you have to allow that natural process to continue. And when you continue, maybe little by little, you go more deep into that very experience, into that very accident. More and more memories come, more and more thoughts come. You feel like crying, screaming, those type of emotions come. But somehow, if you allow it to continue, after a few weeks, few months, you feel much better. You feel no longer this memory bothers me, right? So that way you can see this more like exposure therapy in meditation. Those are healing processes that are happening. During these phases, you can really see that the practice is testing your faith. Now, many people, when they call faith, they say more like worshipping, praying, those type of things. Those type of qualities are given as faith. Now, there's a foreigner here these days. He's from Morocco. He has some connection with France as well. So he was saying, Bante, after 1 month of stay, he was saying, Bante, I didn't pray in my original religion. I didn't pray as a Muslim. Now here, I'm open for meditation. I'm open for these Buddhist practices, but I don't feel like going to chanting, Vandana, because it might convert me. I feel like that's praying. So he doesn't want to go to chanting because he thinks that it might convert him. He didn't pray in his initial religion. Now in this also, I don't want to pray, right? Something like that. So praying, worshipping, those type of things, many people consider as faith. Probably that's true for some people, but still, faith is something more deep. Now, in this stage, let's say in this meditation, we can say faith is more like openness and trust. Now, at this type of a meditation level, this type of a level, you can really see your openness and trust is tested. Many people, they become doubtful. They start questioning their own practice because they don't have faith. They don't have that openness. They don't have that trust. There's this very nice metaphor is given for this. If you want to swim, You have to trust the water. You have to know that the water will support you. You don't have to go into the water and start a whole new struggle. That's not swimming. Swimming is more like effortless. If you know something like butterfly stroke, you can see it's not, going against the water. It's more like, slipping through the layers of water, right? It's even beautiful to watch how this person is swimming like a fish. So if you want to swim like that, you have to have openness. You have to be open to the water. You have to get into the water. You can't be fearful of water. Then the other thing is that you have to trust the water. You have to know that the water is supporting me. I'll just have to put little effort. If you don't have that type of openness and trust, when you get into water, you tighten your body and you drown. That's why alive people, they drown, dead bodies float. Right? When the mind is no longer there, the body floats. Right? So that way, even in meditation, the practice, you can see the faith is tested, but this is not like blind faith. It is more like openness. You have trust in this process. You know that this process is correct. You have faith in Buddha's teaching, and you somehow face this. You somehow continue with it for some time. Right? So that type of quality is really important. And when you have that quality, that's what matters. That's what develop your path. Even one time I remember this visiting monk, he came and said, also you are a monk with faith. Then I told him that's the first time somebody has identified me as a person with faith. Probably like the traditional idea of faith, right? So he said, no, you are a monk with faith, something like that he said. But of course, if we think about these qualities, I think I too have them, I too possess them, openness and trust in the process. That's important. That's important, especially when you're tested in these levels of meditation, right? And when you more and more accept this change, you can see it's a ever-changing flux of things. You have an experience which is the flux of things. But when you continue, your mind is no longer interested in the experience. The experience contains sounds, thoughts, memories, bodily feelings, all these things. But your mind is no longer interested in the experience. It is transcending the experience. It is going beyond the experience. Right? That's the real mind. So far in our lives, we have identified mind objects as mind. Once again, I'll repeat, we have identified mind objects as the mind. Let's say when the sounds come, when the thoughts come, you think that's your mind. No, that's not your mind. That's an object. The thought is an object. The sounds, they are object. Those emotions, they are objects in your mind. So you get to experience the real mind when you transcend the experience only. As long as you are stuck with the experience, you won't be able to see the real mind, right? Let's say in probably like sitting meditation for short periods, few seconds, few minutes, you transcend the experience. I think most of you have experienced it in your meditation, where you go beyond the experience. And while you are there, you can't really reflect. Only after coming back to the experience, you reflect. Earlier few minutes, I was somewhere, but I couldn't reflect. I'm sure I wasn't asleep, but I couldn't reflect. Something like that. You feel like time slips. So that tiny moment, it's a mind without an object. That's the real mind. But when you experience the real mind, you can't reflect upon it because you are always reflecting with the objects. Now, how do you know that we have spent probably like 1 hour here? You have certain memories. You know what we did when we started. You know what we talked about. You know the discourse for today, right? All those memories will tell you that you have spent 1 hour here. But if those memories are not there, if the objects are not there, then what happens is that you are simply there, but you don't know how long you have been there. You can't reflect that you have been there, right? So that type of a experience comes. You simply transcend the experience, transcend these objects, transcend this ever-changing flux of things. You get to feel the original mind. There's no achievement there. You can't feel proud about it. You can't feel like you have achieved something because you don't have anything there, right? Krishnamurti is saying this very nice idea. One time a guru from India came to Krishnamurti and said, I have arrived. I have arrived. I have done it. I have completed the task. Then Krishnamurti asked him, where have you arrived? Then this person somehow trying to convince Krishnamurti, saying that he has done, he has enlightened, he has done his job. So no more convincing, so many convincing, but still didn't work. Finally, Krishnamurti asked him, do you see the sea over there? Yes, I can see. Can you hold that sea water in your palms? Yes, I can hold it. And when you hold, is it sea? Is it the sea? When you are holding, can you call it the sea? No, you can't call it the sea. When you're holding, it's just water in your palms, right? Sea is vast. Sea is limitless. That's the whole idea. When you hold on to an object, me, mine, all those qualities come. I have achieved this, you can say, right? But when you let go of those objects, it becomes the sea. You become the whole universe. You can't have a sense of achievement there, right? So that's it for today. I hope you got the idea. The effort, roused mind, element of instigation, element of persistence, element of exertion. We have to see for ourselves whether we have these qualities that are so important for our practice.
Thank you so much for that very deep, insightful teachings for us, Bhante. We really appreciate your time and your efforts for delivering that beautiful teachings of Buddha. As we come into the end of our discussion session, I would like to open the space for any closing thoughts, remarks, or any experience you might want to share, or maybe your practice you want to share with Bhante to get an advice, or anything that would come to your mind. This is your opportunity. Please raise your Zoom hand, and I will let you to unmute. If anyone is not having anything to share, I received a reflection report. I'm going to read it out for you, Bhante. This is from a practitioner who would like to get an advice from you. Mindful dishwashing. I had to wash some dishes, pots, pans, spoons, and containers after cooking. I put everything into the sink, added some water, and removed the leftover food from the surfaces. Then I added some dishwashing liquid and spread it with a sponge. While doing that, I felt the different textures of the materials and containers were made of. I also noticed the fragrance of the lime-scented dishwashing liquid. As I scrubbed, bubbles formed on the surfaces. When I felt the oil and Dean removed and reacted with the detergent, I set those items aside for a while. Then I washed the rice cooker separately because it didn't have any oil. While washing it, I felt some dried bits of rice stuck to the surface. I used the sponge and some pressure to remove them. After that, I rinsed the containers and pans and spoons with water. I saw how the dirty particles dissolved in the water and flowed away, and how the surfaces became shiny again. When I touched them, I felt that there were no more leftover particles. I arranged the washed item carefully, large pots at the bottom, smaller ones on top. While washing, I also noticed my posture as I stood at the sink. I felt the movements of my hands, the work of the joints, and the pressure points. I had a mild headache, and I could feel it in the background. Thoughts also appeared, sometimes as images, sometimes as inner chatter, but they came and went. Throughout the activity, the main thing was simply washing the dishes. I felt quite happy, and there was a sense of relaxation during the whole process. I also felt like I was observing the activity from a distance, almost like a third person. There was space between the actions, the thoughts, and the observation. I felt good both during the activity and after finishing it. The end of the report, Bhante.
Yes, so that's very nice. Good to hear such experiences, because most people, they only report about walking and sitting, they only practice there. But if you think about your daily life, you can't do walking and sitting only. You have to go to work, you have to do your daily chores. So many things are there. So proper practice would be simply being mindful throughout your day, starting from the very moment that you woke up till you go to bed. Can you be mindful? That's the whole idea, right? So you can support it with walking and sitting, but eventually you have to get into your daily routine and try to approach them mindfully. That's the only way. Otherwise, you protect your mind for like a couple of hours doing walking and sitting meditation. The rest of the time, it is going crazy all over the place. That's not going to work. So these type of activities, you can approach them as meditation. You have to remember to approach them as meditation. You have to have certain kind of a aroused energy towards that. You take these daily activities, the boring activities, as a challenge or as an opportunity for you to practice meditation. Right? Now, even things like dishwashing, you can really see the profound message that we have just heard. It's like almost like a sitting session that goes very deep while doing dishes. Can we have this type of experience? If you try, you can have it. Watching the whole process as a third person, seeing the body is there, seeing the gaps that are there, right? So this way, you can really approach your daily things mindfully and make them a part of your practice. And when you do that, you don't always have to, put the SMS mode all the time. Sometimes you have to let go of two S's, silence and slowness, right? Simply be mindful. Because in your daily things, sometimes you have to multitask, sometimes you have to allow the body to do it, right? The time is limited, all those things are there. So we are not saying you to become a person who can't do your things. We are not asking you to get into a weird kind of a pattern. Somebody was saying, my mother used to cook fine earlier, but she has gone to a retreat, and after coming home, only cutting vegetables takes 45 minutes. Now you have to cut vegetables mindfully, stroke counting, right? So that's getting into weird patterns. That's not encouraged. We encourage you to continue your usual way and simply watch like a third person. That's the whole idea. So thank you for sharing that experience. I think it is encouraging for all the participants here. And your practice is fine. You simply continue like this.
Thank you so much, Bhante. As we come to our session, to the end of our session today, I would like to take this opportunity to extend our gratitude towards our teacher for his teachings and guidance for us, and also for everyone, for all of you. Thank you so much for your presence, for your practice, and your kind participation. We are going to meet next week, the same time. Till then, take care.